Hey, 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 Boomachino time, baby. We're back. We're going to recap UFC Minnesota. We had a lot of good finishes on the card. We had a lot of good fights on the card as well. Starting from the bottom, we had someone who really impressed me. Um, Lungiambula, man, that guy has some crazy, scary power. He's a stoic guy. He's serious in there, and his opponent looked good too. But he was just able to hurt him with that big right hand and dropped him. And he had decent wrestling too as well. He's able to mix it up to get more respect on the feet. And man, his ground and pound was brutal. He was trying to go for that finish. He was using elbows on top, and the ref stepped in. Could have been a little bit of a quick stoppage, but I mean the guy was taking too much. He was definitely stuck under him and mount, and he was raining down elbows. So that was scary stuff to see. He's someone who is gonna probably make a big rise in the light heavyweight division. Uh, Also, very impressed with Maurice Green, able to finish Junior Albini. He looked really crisp on the feet. He was using those front teep kicks to the knee, controlling range really well, and picking his shots at the right time. He was using speed, but he wasn't over utilizing power in any way. He was picking his shots really nicely, and Junior Albini is, he's a tough guy, but he's now facing what 3 or 4 losses. I feel bad for the guy because I remember when he made his debut, he had like no money and trying to buy his kid toys and stuff like that. I remember him talking about that. So hopefully he gets another shot. But Maurice Green looking sharp out there as a heavyweight. See who they match him up with next. And I think he's 3-0 now in the UFC. So he'll probably get a higher ranked opponent next. Jared Gordon. The fight was, good victory for him. Very smart fighter. I was very impressed with his ability to kind of get close and close the distance because he's smaller for the lightweight class. And this guy he was fighting had a lot more reach than him, a lot more range. Fighting the hometown guy, but he was able to get inside and he's able to win those grappling exchanges. He kind of puts himself in trouble sometimes, but he knows he's going to end up on top. He knows how to take the fight to where his advantages are, which is on top. He passes to the half guard, he rains down heavy ground and pound, and he stays very heavy top pressure on you. So you don't want a guy like Jared Gordon on you. But the thing I was impressed with the most was his post-fight speech. He's fighting for something bigger than just fighting. The guy's been through trials and tribulations with drug use, and he makes it a point to get his word out there to the people who are dealing with drug abuse problems and heroin addicts out there and people just going down the wrong path, and I think that's good to have his word out there to, be able to spread that message and hopefully, help change at least one person's life, if not many. But great victory for him. And Eric Anders with the big knockout over Vinicius Moreira. Man, Eric Anders looked sharp in there. He got him out of there quick. That could have been stopped. That guy took a little bit of extra damage, like 4 shots to the head on the ground while he was already out. But he had some power in there, man. Eric Anders, he's nobody to mess with. That light heavyweight, middleweight, he fights at both weight classes, so he's a guy that they can utilize to move up and down. And he needed that win, I believe he was coming off a loss in his last fight, so that was a big rebound victory for him. Ricardo Ramos, man, that guy has some crazy spinning attacks. If you fight that guy, you got to watch out for spinning elbows. He'll throw like an up elbows. He'll throw an elbow, up elbow to a spin elbow. And he sets it up really nice. The guy he was fighting was really composed for his UFC debut. I was impressed with how calm he was in there and especially how he was able to take that spinning elbow that Ramos landed at the end flush on the chin, man. And the guy, fell down and got right back up really fast. That was impressive. But Ramos is just he's willing to take risks in there and spin and throw some crazy techniques out there. So you got to watch out for that fighting him. He knocked out Zahabi with that. I was there for that fight live, and that was nasty, man. I don't know if he broke his jaw, but that was a badass knockout, the way he had that spinning elbow off the cage. If you're coming forward on him, look out for him to spin on you. So you got to be aware of that with Ramos. That was badass. Alonzo Benefield, crazy power, man. Took out Paul Craig. You know, Paul Craig kind of threw that spinning back kick. And, you know, that costed him the fight. You know, he was doing well with having Benefield clinching up against him. And you know, Benefield's corner was telling him, listen, we got to separate, man. Like, we're not trying to clinch with this guy. We're trying to use striking power and keep the range, keep the distance. And Paul Craig was trying to obviously get the fight to the ground. He tried to pull guard once, but was unsuccessful. And he threw that spinning back kick that really cost him the fight because he ended up on his back. And Benefield was like, boom, with a right hand over the top after Paul Craig spun and gave up his, you know, turned around and landed on his back. And Benefield capitalized and closed the distance with heavy ground and pound to knock him out cold. So a big win for Benefield. He's looking great at light heavyweight. Dober gets the win. Quick knockout. He came out the gate hot, man. Dober was starting strong with a lot of power shots, and he was using that forward pressure. He really didn't give Pollo Reyes like a chance to get set and get into his rhythm. He just came at him strong out the gate and was using very, very good pressure. And sometimes that's really important. A guy never really gets in his rhythm, gets a chance to start, actually get set going in the fight. So Drew Dober with a big knockout win early in round 1. Damian Maia, Anthony Martin. Man, Anthony Martin is just one of those fights where Damian Maia is just such a practitioner of jiu-jitsu, an expert there. You just always got to be aware of the takedown. It feels like guys are just in a trance, like, when are you going to shoot, when are you going to shoot? He was able to get Martin down. He was able to trap his legs with a triangle on the legs, kind of Khabib style, but he was never able to really flatten him out. But the cage was a crucial thing in this fight because it kept Anthony Martin like at a 90 degree. He never really got flattened out for a while where, you know, Maia could use his jiu-jitsu to pass guard and get a, you know, take the back, get a submission. So props to Martin to be able to avoid that. And he was looking for head kicks. He was doing everything he could on the feet. You know, he wasn't pulling the trigger a crazy amount because you don't want to get taken down. So, you know, Maia's one of those guys where his striking's okay and it's enough to get through the fight, but his opponents are just afraid to pull the trigger because they don't want to get taken down and end up on their back. So Maia just squeaks out a decision the way he usually does to win. And unfortunate for Martin because he really, you know, Maia is one of those gatekeepers to see if you're ready to challenge for a title. And he came up short against him. So Maia's still going strong, man. So impressed with Joseph Benevidez, man. His power, his ability to switch stances, and his ability in the scrambles, man. You're facing a high-level black belt like Jussier Formiga, and the guy takes everyone's back and submits him, and he's improved on the feet as well. But, man, Benevidez was well-rounded in that fight. He was able to deal with a cut right by the eye and stay calm in there. And when the fight did hit the mat, he scrambled really well and ended up on top. And that was a big deal in the fight because Formiga has usually able to control people and get the submission, but he wasn't able to in this fight. You know, Benevidez was just too smart on the ground, able to reverse positions and just win the scrambles, you know. And I think that was a big key part of the fight, but also the killer instinct. He saw that he hurt Formiga and he went in for the kill with hard, heavy hooks, man. He was able to get inside. He almost ducks in like that, like really hot. Like, it's almost crazy that they don't clash heads because the way Benevidez closes the distance, he's like a bull. He just kind of puts his head down and moves forward and throws hooks over the top. And you got to watch out. That guy's got a lot of power. Hopefully we see the rematch between Henry Cejudo and Benevidez when he comes back, because Benevidez already has a victory over him, so that's a redemption fight right there for Henry Cejudo. Really impressed with Benevidez's skills in that fight. That was a very high level fight at flyweight. Who does not like to see flyweights fight, man? I love seeing that shit. Such high level techniques, speed, you know, and now they seem to be getting their power game up. So they got everything. They got jiu-jitsu, they got wrestling, they got speed, they got power now. Just the overall well-roundedness. It's exciting to see those guys fight. Francis Ngannou, what else is new, man? The guy's got brutal power. He almost turned JDS all the way around with his fucking right hand. And, you know, puts him out on the ground, guys, JDS is covered up, and Francis Ngannou's just raining shots down, and that was enough is enough. We're probably going to see Francis fight the winner of Daniel Cormier and Stipe, depending on who wins the fight. If Cormier wins, he might retire. We never know. But if Stipe wins, I could see, Francis getting that rematch. We'll see what they do moving forward. But let's get some Twitter questions here. I know we had a couple. Just a quick recap for you guys. Touch up on the winners of UFC Minneapolis. What do we got here? What do we got here on Twitter? At GriffDog53. What's next for Ngannou if he doesn't get a title shot? I believe he'll wait it out for a title shot. I don't see why he wouldn't get a title shot. If he doesn't, I mean, there's not really many other guys. He's the obvious clear-cut #1 contender, beating JDS like that, knocking him out. So beat Derek Lewis, beat JDS. You got Daniel Cormier and Stipe fighting, and I think if Stipe wins, it favors him a little bit more because obviously that's a rematch, a redemption fight, and that's a bigger story. They gotta bring Ngannou to Africa. There's a lot of African fighters making a name for themselves now. We got him, we got Kamaru Usman, we got what's his name, who just beat Kelvin Gastelum. How the fuck am I not getting his name right now? You know who I'm talking about, though. But yeah, 3 guys making big splashes in different divisions, all from Africa, African, native fighters. They got to go to Africa and bring those guys over there, man. That would be huge. Israel Adesanya. Damn. I don't know how I forgot his name, but yeah, those 3 guys got to go to Africa. That's a huge, big deal for them, and I wouldn't mind seeing Ngannou fight for the title in Africa. What a scene that would be, man. That'd be something pretty cool. I don't see them doing the Lewis rematch, but I guess if something happens where DC wins and he ends up having to fight Jones and Ngannou doesn't want to wait, I feel like they'll still make the Stipe rematch, if anything. But yeah, I guess they could go the Lewis way as well. I doubt that, though. If Cormier fights Ngannou, I give it to Cormier. His wrestling's just too high level, Olympic level. He knows how to get inside. His striking's good enough to get to the wrestling and mix it up. So I would go Cormier. Miocic Ngannou, I would kind of go the same way. I think Stipe knows how to fight him, but you got to be 100% smart when you fight Ngannou. You cannot make any mistakes with the amount of power that guy has. So it's really hard to say. I mean, he's looked great as of late. His confidence is back. His confidence is at 100% now. He's gonna go in there trying to take out anybody. I don't think we're gonna see any more hesitancy from Ngannou. So gotta watch out for that. But if he fights Stipe or DC, I give the edge to both DC and Stipe in those matchups. I would pick them if I had to. So that's that. That's just a short, quick, boom recap for you for UFC Minnesota. We'll be back for July 6th. We got International Fight Week coming up. John Jones versus Santos. We'll get a boom breakdown going on sometime next week before that fight card. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. Thumbs up, subscribe. I appreciate it. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter at BrianBoom135. We'll see you next week. Boom.